Welcome back for another video. In today's video I'll be running through my Game Week 16 team selection, transfer plans and thoughts heading into this game week. If you missed the Game Week 16 top 100 all-time managers video, make sure you give that a watch too, a link will be on screen at the end. A quick thank you to the newest YouTube members, Shake, Kennedy and Mode. If you'd like to support me by becoming a YouTube member too, a link's in the description and it includes early access to videos and a private channel on the Discord where I'll give team feedback. Lastly, if you'd like to follow my team throughout this season, make sure you're subscribed. Let's start with a quick look back at how Game Week 15 went. At last we got the elusive Green Arrow after 4 hard fought game weeks in second, so as a result we are now first in the world. It still doesn't feel quite real opening the app and seeing 1 next to overall rank. Difficult to put into words after 11 years playing, but a moment I'll remember in years to come playing. I'm also delighted that I started the channel this year, as it's an incredibly rare opportunity to document such a journey. I'm told it's not been done by a YouTuber before, in which case an honour to be the first. Whatever happens from here, I can at least say we were there and first. In terms of points, it actually wasn't a particularly strong game week with 50 points. Smith Rowe and Tony both missed out, and placing Antonio last on the bench was the wrong call. James got a 0-pointer in the loss against West Ham and a 1-pointer from Alonso. Cancelo and Livramento also failed to keep a clean sheet. So the question now is whether we can hold on to first place, and the pressure is on. On to the Game Week 16 team selection and transfer plans. Ramsdale starts in goal. He made some good saves against Everton, but Arsenal were disappointing. He's kept clean sheets in half of his 12 appearances, and this week he faces Southampton at home, where they'll be looking for an immediate response after a couple of losses on the bounce. He's the second best keeper in the game for value after Sarr, returning 11.8 points per million, and even at 5 mil he's well worth consideration if you're on a wildcard, considering the fixtures ahead. Next up is Trent, who faces Aston Villa at home, which marks Gerrard's return to Anfield as a manager, albeit in the opposite dugout. Liverpool have been resolute in defence, with an expected goals conceded of 14.6 for the season, which is second best after Man City. They've kept 8 clean sheets, but in Trent's case he's picked up as many attacking returns as clean sheets through 1 goal and 7 assists. Next up is Reece James, who's got an outstanding fixture this week facing Leeds at home. He's been frustrating in the last few game weeks, especially if you picked him up in Game Week 13 right after an explosive few game weeks. However, he's an easy hold for the run of games Chelsea have got. He's on 4 goals and 4 assists for the season and 8 starts. Cancelo wasn't included in the Man City squad that travelled to Germany for the Champions League game against Leipzig. This should be good news for those of us who own Cancelo, who faces Wolves this game week at home. Kyle Walker picked up a red card in that Champions League game, which unfortunately could impact Cancelo's minutes at some point. That said, he's another player you start week in week out, and with City's run of games ahead, you want to be at least doubled up if possible, whether it's 2 defenders or a midfielder and a defender. Alonso completes the back 4, who was flagged with a back injury, however he was spotted in training, which is reassuring. We'll keep a close eye on the Champions League games midweek. The hope is that we'll see someone else playing at left wing back, perhaps Saul, and then Alonso comes into the starting 11 for the Leeds game. The schedule is packed this month, with Game Week 17 kicking off only 2 days after Game Week 16 ends, so Tuchel will need to manage him carefully. Realistically, he may not start all games this month, but the same can be said about every outfield player. Salah gets the armband for the game against Villa. Over the season he's topped for big chances created, shots in the box, expected goals and expected goal involvement. He's also played every minute in the league so far. It was surprising to see him in the starting 11 alongside Mane for the game against AC Milan, considering Liverpool are comfortably through, having won every group game. However, he was subbed off early and he's an easy pick for the captaincy. Jota on the other hand wasn't in the squad for the AC Milan game midweek, which looks like good news with Klopp presumably giving him a rest before Game Week 16. He missed an absolute sitter last game week with a very open goal to aim at, but he hit it straight into Cody. As a result, he was the biggest XG underachiever of Game Week 15, registering an expected goals of 0.8 but failing to score. Over the season, he has an expected goal involvement every 105 minutes, which is about on par with Salah, and just shows what great value he is considering the price difference. Smith Rowe completes the midfield and missed out versus Everton after a late test on his availability. With that in mind, you'd expect him to be back for the game against Southampton. The Saints are in a goalkeeper crisis with both McCarthy and Forster out injured. As a result, 40-year-old Caballero has joined them on loan to tide them over. Considering the match is at home and Arsenal will need a response after consecutive losses, it could be a good game for the Gunners. Up top, Josh King gets the nod for the Brentford game. Over the last 4 game weeks, he's 4th among all players for expected goal involvement, so he's representing very good value. His underlying numbers have been better than Dennis's, so we backed the data, but they're both great picks, especially considering the fixtures. After 5 blanks in a row, Antonio finally broke his dry spell with an assist last game week. West Ham are another side with great fixtures on the horizon, and we'll hope to see him back to his early season form. Over the entire season, Antonio is 4th for expected goal involvement on 8.5 XGI, which again demonstrates what a value pick he can be, and it looks like a great time for move for him, especially considering he's had a few price drops. Toney completes the starting 11, but he's another player with COVID, and as a result he'll almost certainly be leaving the team, which we'll discuss shortly. On the bench it's Foster, Son, Rafinha and Livramento. The plan was to keep hold of Son for what could have been a great fixture against Brighton. Brighton are missing 8 first team players, including Dunk, Duffy and Webster in defence. However, it's been reported that Son and several other first team players have tested positive for COVID. It's very possible the game doesn't even go ahead, and if he's out then Son will have to leave the team. As a result, there's 2 possible transfer plans being considered. As always, the transfers are not locked in, which has to be emphasised this week. The first option is Toney to Ronaldo and Son to Douglas Luiz. This is quite an exciting move considering it's Ronaldo and the fixtures he has, starting with Norwich this week. It also leaves enough in the bank for Rafinha to Bowen or Bernardo Silva or Gundogan in Game Week 17 if we want to make that move. We'll keep a close eye on the Champions League because if Ronaldo plays the full 90, it might be enough to deter us to plan B. The other option is Son to Bernardo Silva and Rafinha to Foden. This lets us buy into the Man City triple up with 3 home games in the next 4 and away games to Newcastle and Brentford. Foden was brought off early, and in Pep's post-match conference he said he was taken off as a precaution. So he may not start and Gundogan could be an alternative option. The 2 moves would however mean that we have to keep hold of Toney for another game week or 2. Fortunately, having 2 transfers banked does give us a route out of Toney and Son's expected absence. If we do opt for the Ronaldo option, it'll be the 4-3-3 formation as on screen. As always, I'll post my final team on my channel and on Twitter. For now, that wraps up the team selection video for Game Week 16. Thanks again for all the messages on reaching first. If you'd like to follow my team throughout the season, make sure you're subscribed. Let me know in the comments how your Game Week 15 went and what your plans are for Game Week 16. I read every comment, so if you enjoyed the video, let me know. Lastly, please remember to like the video and hit subscribe to support the channel.